The spotlight found her in the VIP section. 22,000 people watched as Tupac pointed straight at Puff Daddy's girlfriend and motioned for her to come to the stage. When she actually began walking toward him, the entire arena sensed that something unforgettable was about to happen. It was July 12, 1996, at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. Tupac was headlining one of the biggest West Coast shows of the year. What began as a celebration would turn into a moment people would talk about for decades. The night started with energy and dominance. Tupac controlled the stage, the crowd echoed every lyric, and Death Row Records was at the height of its influence. In the VIP section, however, sat someone who would soon become the focus of the entire arena. Aaliyah, rumored at the time to be quietly seeing Sean Combs, had flown in from New York believing she was there for studio work. She had no idea Tupac was aware of the situation or that he may have been preparing for this moment. Halfway through performing, All Eyes on Me, Tupac suddenly stopped mid-verse. The crowd fell into confusion as he scanned the VIP section as if searching for someone. Hold up! Hold up! He said into the microphone, his tone sharp and deliberate. I see somebody in the VIP who came all the way from New York to be here tonight. People began turning their heads, trying to follow his gesture. Aaliyah! Tupac called out, his voice echoing across the stadium. Why don't you come up here and say hello? The energy in the venue shifted instantly. People who recognized the name started screaming and pointing. Aaliyah wasn't just anyone. She was one of the most admired R&B stars in the world, with millions of fans who knew nothing about her rumored relationship with Sean Combs. She looked stunned. Sitting beside her were her brother Rashad, her bodyguard, and 2 label executives, clearly not expecting to be singled out at a Death Row Records concert. Come on up here, Aaliyah, Tupac repeated, his voice mixing invitation with command. Don't be shy. These 22,000 people want to meet the princess of R&B. The crowd grew louder, some chanting, Jennifer, Jennifer, even though many didn't fully understand the situation. She glanced at the people around her, unsure. The executives shook their heads, signaling her not to move. But with thousands of eyes locked on her, the pressure mounted. I don't want any trouble, she called out, barely heard over the noise. No trouble, Tupac replied, smiling in a way that didn't fully ease the tension. Just some West Coast hospitality for our East Coast guest. The audience fed off the suspense, sensing something serious was unfolding. Then she stood up. The arena erupted. As she made her way toward the stage at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, the reaction was thunderous. This wasn't just any guest. It was Aaliyah. Security hesitated, unsure whether to block her path or guide her. The men she had been sitting with looked alarmed, realizing how public the moment had become. When she stepped onto the stage, Tupac's grin widened. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, make some noise for Aaliyah. The applause was overwhelming. She stood at center stage in a simple black dress, poised but visibly uncomfortable, clearly out of her element in that environment. Aaliyah, Tupac said, stepping closer. I want to ask you something in front of everybody. The crowd quieted. How does it feel? He asked. To be dating a man who's been trying to have me killed? Gasps rippled through the stadium. Her face drained of color. He continued, pressing the moment. You didn't know about the contracts. You didn't know about the money being paid. You didn't know what your boyfriend's been involved in. Tears began forming in her eyes. This wasn't the kind of spotlight she was used to. I don't know what you're talking about, she said softly. Then let me explain. Tupac replied, his tone lowering, almost calm. He stepped closer, near enough that his microphone carried every word, yet close enough that it felt intensely personal. Your man has been coming at me, he said quietly, trying to damage my name, my career, everything I've built. And you've been right there while this whole thing keeps escalating. The arena fell into complete silence. 22,000 people sensed that this was no longer just performance. It felt personal. What happened next caught even him off guard. Instead of defending her boyfriend or pushing back, she lowered her voice and said, I know. The microphone carried the word across the entire stadium. A wave of noise exploded through the crowd. The reaction was immediate. Shock, confusion, disbelief. You know, he asked, genuine surprise in his tone. I've been trying to calm it down, she continued, speaking more clearly now. I've told him this back and forth isn't worth it. It's getting out of control. Somebody's going to get hurt if it keeps going. The confession shifted the energy in the stadium. This wasn't gossip anymore. It was fear of how far things could spiral. It's bigger than you think, she added, her voice trembling but steady. This isn't just music anymore. The crowd murmured, restless, understanding that whatever was happening between these camps had gone beyond lyrics and interviews. And everyone watching knew this moment would never be forgotten. Tools. Her voice grew steadier as she made her decision. This has been building for months, she said. Something big. Something that's supposed to happen soon. The crowd shifted uneasily. The tension in the air felt heavier than before. What kind of something? He asked. And this time there was no performance in his tone, only concern. She glanced at the sea of faces, the cameras, the flashing lights. A moment that would follow her forever. Plans, she said carefully. Meetings. Conversations in Las Vegas. People talking like this isn't just music anymore. A chill moved through the stadium. The suggestion alone was enough. Instead of exploding in anger, he surprised everyone. He stepped closer and gently took her hand. Thank you, he said quietly. If what you're saying is true, then you didn't have to say it here. The arena fell silent. But I need to know, he continued. Why tell me this? Why say it now? Tears slipped down her face. Because I care about him, she said. And I care about you. And this back and forth is turning into something ugly. If nobody stops it, it's going to ruin lives. I'd rather risk everything telling the truth than watch it spiral. The crowd reacted emotionally, cheers mixed with stunned silence. Then he added, still holding her hand, call him. She blinked. What? Call him. Right now. Let's end this the right way. The audience roared, sensing history unfolding in real time. With trembling hands, she pulled out her phone and dialed. The sound system carried every ring across the stadium. A voice answered, hello. She swallowed. I'm on stage in Los Angeles. A long pause. The entire arena held its breath. What are you doing? The voice snapped through the speakers. I'm doing what should have been done months ago, she replied, her voice no longer shaking. I'm ending this. Get off that stage. Now. No, she said firmly. I'm tired of watching this spiral. I'm tired of the threats, the ego, the back and forth that's pushing everything too far. The stadium was silent, 22,000 people listening to something that felt far more personal than entertainment. You don't understand what's going on, he said, frustration creeping in. I understand enough, she answered. I know about the meetings. I know about the plans. And I know that if this keeps going, nobody wins. There was a pause on the line. Why are you doing this? He asked, quieter now. Because I care about you, she said. And I won't stand by while pride turns into regret. The emotion in her voice shifted the energy in the entire arena. Then Tupac gently took the phone. Listen, he said calmly. We don't have to keep feeding this. Whatever this is, it ends now. No more threats. No more games. We both built too much to let it burn over ego. Another long silence. What do you want? The voice asked. Peace, Tupac replied. Call off whatever drama is